say. In an alternative timeline, if you never became a world snooker champion player, what do you think you would have done for a living instead? Great question. I don't know, because when I left school, after I did my leaving cert, I came to England to try and pursue a career in snooker. I had £500 in my pocket and I had my cue and my bag, and that was all I had in the world. I never really thought about doing anything else, but I just wanted to finish school and make sure, if it didn't work out, that I'd have something to fall back on. I used to have a part-time job standing wedding cakes. I probably could have been a good jockey, but thankfully I wasn't half bad at snooker. Did you ever try to imitate another snooker player's cue action, either from admiration or for potential skill improvement? No, I don't think I tried to imitate anybody. I think Steve Davis was the barometer. He had a perfect cue action. Then, of course, came along Stephen Hendry, who was a lot more aggressive, but a wonderful sort of free-flowing cue action. I tried to keep it as free-flowing as possible. Was I like Hendry's cue action? More like Colin Hendry's cue action. We both probably similar, and Stephen Hendry would probably say that as well. But no, I think if you picked up a little bit from each player, particularly the top players and the most successful, and try and sort of work out your cue action that would suit yourself. How frequently do you make a 147 in practice? Not so frequently anymore. I think the last 147 I got was a bus. So I'm just happy with 47 these days. Do you still play with the cue you bought for £2 it was actually? I still have the cue. I've changed cue just recently just to try it out. But I've had my £2 cue since 1981. And I have it since I was about 10 years of age. And I picked it up off the pool rack. I played with it. Somebody had left it behind, and I said to the manager, I said, look, if nobody comes back, can I keep this cue? And in his broad Dublin accent, he says, well, give us a fiver for it. I got a fiver out of my mother, put £2 in this pocket, put £3 in this pocket, went back with the cue and said my mother couldn't afford the £5. She only had £2, put my hand in this pocket, took out the £2. And he looked at the cue, he looked at the £2, and he says, give me the £2. And I won the World Junior Championship, I won the World Amateur Championship, and I won the World Professional Championship with a £2 cue. I think it was good value. Thankfully, nobody came back to collect the cue. Are you happy with the Crucible as it is, or do you agree with Barry Hearn that Sheffield City Council should fund a bigger venue? I love the Crucible. I grew up watching it. I went there first as a 14-year-old to watch. I came back 7 years later as a player. And I've been going to the Crucible since 1991, I think was the first time I played there. And I've been going there ever since. I love it. I think it's the most amazing venue. Some players like it, some players don't like it. But I think the atmosphere of the Crucible is like no other place that we play in, or the players that play today play in. It's full of great history, great memories, great nostalgia. You get a sense of that when you're there. And if you haven't been, you should put it on your bucket list. But for me, the Crucible is the home of the World Championship. And I know it only fits 950 people there. But that should be our sort of blue ribbon event. And if it doesn't make as much money for Barry Hearn or World Snooker, so be it. Let all the other tournaments create their own history and nostalgia. Keep the World Championship at the Crucible, please. It's a great city and it's a great place. Having done commentary and punditry for so long, if you were able to talk to your younger self as an upcoming commentator, pundit, or indeed any other person looking to get into commentary, what would be the biggest and most valuable piece of advice you would give to them, and why? And yeah, great question, actually. What would be the biggest piece of advice? I would say listen to your fellow commentator. Try and be as concise as possible. Don't talk too much, even though that's my problem most times. But yeah, I think trying to engage for the people that are in the audience and also the people watching at home, and try and simplify what's going through the player's mind, shot choices, things like that. And talking from your own experience as well as a player, what would you do when you're out there, how you felt when you were out there. I think they're quite interesting little anecdotes or little sort of pieces of information that they wouldn't necessarily know. I think the audience is quite interested in that as well. But I think it's also important to talk to your co-commentator as well and have a little conversation if you can. You have to be the hardest working pundit and commentator in snooker. In the long summer recess, do you stop working and relax? And what does a perfect holiday look like for you? Great question. Yeah, it is a long season. Am I the hardest working pundit? I don't know about that. I don't feel it's work because it's something that I love doing, and I'd be lost without it. So that's why I still do it and I still love it. What do I like to do in the summertime? I like to play golf. I like to go to nice places, a bit of sun on my back and brush up on the freckles and the pink skin and just relax and enjoy and swim a little bit. Would you be up for being involved in a big break revival if it were ever to happen? I love Big Break. I thought it was magnificent. I loved being on it. I thought it was just a wonderful show, and it was getting millions and millions of viewers. And if you were invited to play in it, that was a great honour and a feather in your cap. And thankfully, they invited me a few times to play in it, and I was delighted to win. I think I won a couple of holidays for a couple of the contestants. But yeah, always great fun. And I think it'd be great if Big Break came back. I don't know who could do it, but yeah, it would be fantastic for the game and a great show as well. Hi Ken, of all the all-time players, who do you consider to be A, the mentally strongest player, B, the most technically perfect player, and C, the most exciting player to watch? Great question. The mentally strongest player, well, there's a couple of candidates for this. I think definitely you'd have to put Stephen Hendry there, Steve Davis before him. Then you would have to put someone like John Higgins and Mark Selby, very, very strong mentally, of course. The most technically perfect player, I think for technique-wise, even though he's changed his technique over the years, it has to be Ronnie O'Sullivan. The way he can majestically manoeuvre the cue ball, break-wise, the breaks that he's made, the 147s. He probably would say he wouldn't be the most technically perfect, but I think a lot of the other players would say with his cue action, even though it's changed quite a bit over the few years, but he's always striving for perfection. But technically, I think he was excellent. The most exciting player to watch, yes, you would probably say Ronnie O'Sullivan again, but for me, I think the most exciting player when I was growing up was Alex Higgins, the great Alex Higgins. Technically not great, but very charismatic, used to play incredible shots and always entertaining, and a great, used to have some great lines as well, of course, when he'd come in and do his, his press conferences or be interviewed in the studio as well. He was thoroughly entertaining, brought an awful lot of people to snooker, so he would be my most exciting player to watch. You were close to breaking the Crucible course in 1998 against John Higgins in the final. How much extra pressure did being the defending world champion and trying to break the Crucible course put on you? Do you think your approach to the match would have been different if you hadn't been world champion? Very, very good question. Did it really put any pressure? I don't think it did. You're obviously aware of it, and I asked the question to Corin Wilson when he came into the studio at the Players' Championship. He said, he sort of passed it off. He said, I never heard of the Crucible course. That's a great attitude to have. But it's always there because people keep reminding you. Did it really hinder me against John Higgins in the final? I don't think it did. I think it was just the fact that I had such a wonderful year in 97 as world champion. I just wanted to hold on to that beautiful cup for one more year. The difference between winning and losing, when I won it in 97, I came back to Dublin Airport, got an open top bus all the way through the city centre. The cars were stopping, people hanging outside the windows with Welcome Home Champ. Big civic reception in the heart of Dublin in the Lord Mayor's residence. And there was thousands and thousands of people turned out. It was fantastic. 1998, get all the way to the final, come back to Dublin Airport after losing to John Higgins in the final, have to get a taxi home. That's the difference. Is there such a thing as being too old to aspire to joining the World Snooker Tour? Asking as a 26-year-old. Well, if you're a 26-year-old, you're quite young in my book. So you're never too old as long as you enjoy it and you're good enough, and you have a dream. I think that's the most important. If you have a dream, follow your dreams, because dreams do come true. So keep going. If you're a 26-year-old, never give up. Have you ever seen anyone play better than when Stephen Hendry hit 6 centuries and 8 frames against you in the 1994 UK Championship final? Stephen Hendry, yeah, it was incredible. He made 6 centuries and he was 7-5 up against me at the interval, and it should have been 6-all, believe it or not. But he played incredible. Nobody's ever played like that against me, and I played all the greats of Sullivan and Higgins and Williams, Selby, Robertson, Trum. But nobody has played like that against me, and it's going to be a tough record to break. And he's delighted that Barry Hawkins didn't break it the other day, because it's one of his few records that he still has intact. But he will always say it was in a UK final, so if somebody does it in round 1 or 2 of the Tour Championship, it doesn't count as much. But it's still a wonderful record. 7 centuries in the 10 frames he won, and unfortunately it was against me. Thank you very much for all the wonderful questions. I really had a good time answering them. I hope you enjoy the answers. Thanks.